Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the opening ceremony of the international webinar with the theme Global Trends in the Property and the Real Estate Industry, organized by Magister Management, Property and Valuation Postgraduate School Universitas Sumatera Utara, supported by Masyarakat Profesi Penilai Indonesia, Real Estate Indonesia, and National University of Singapore. Today, Saturday, 26th of April 2025, broadcast live from Zoom Cloud Meeting Indonesia. And my name is Yosi, and I'm very delighted to be a MC for today. Langit petang tiada berawan, pagi berselimut di pertigaan. Selamat bergabung Tuan dan Puan, kami sambut dengan kebanggaan. Hidangan lezat di atas talam, talam lemas berlapiskan berlian. Izinkan kami mengucapkan salam untuk menyambut kehadiran Bapak, Ibu, dan hadirin sekalian. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, I would like to welcome the honorable guest that's been joining us on this lovely morning. Please welcome the Honorable Professor Dr. Poppy Angelisa Zaitun Hasibuan, SSI MSc Apotekar, on behalf of Rektor Universitas Sumatera Utara as the third Vice Rector of Universitas Sumatera Utara. And we also would like to welcome the keynote speakers of our international webinar. Please welcome Professor Kwan as a Professor of Real Estate at the National University of Singapore Business School, Mr. Rusmin Lawin, President of FIABCI Asia Pacific, the International Real Estate Federation, and the moderator, the Honorable Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul, STMM. And ladies and gentlemen, we also have the honorable guest. Please welcome the Insinyur Budi Prasojo, MEC Dev MAPPI certified as the Chairman of the Indonesian Society of Appraisers, the Honorable Mr. Joko Suranto, SHM Home, as the Chairman of Real Estate Indonesia, the Honorable Director of USU Postgraduate School, Professor Insinyur Tungku Sabrina, Magister of Agriculture Science, PhD, the Honorable Chair of Magister Management, Property and Valuation Postgraduate School, Universitas Sumatera Utara, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Sihaan, SAMEC, along with the Secretary of the Study Program, Mrs. Isnan Fitri, ST, Magister of Engineering, PhD. And we also have the Honorable Chairman of Regional Board of Real Estate Indonesia, Mr. Rakuta Karokaro, MMPP, and all of its esteemed team, members of Real Estate Indonesia, and of course, all of ladies and gentlemen, participants, lecturers, students, alumni of Master Program in Property Management and Valuation, undergraduate, graduate students of Universitas Sumatera Utara. Ladies and gentlemen, participants, thank you so much for joining us in the international webinar, Global Trends in Property and Real Estate Industry. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, now we're going to begin our program with singing the national anthem of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Indonesia Raya. Ladies and gentlemen, participants, for the hope for the success of this event, next we're going to have a prayer, and this time it will be led by Mr. Rendra Rafiq.
Thank you, Miss Yosi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us to take a moment to bow head and hearts in prayer, seeking forgiveness and guidance for success of today's international webinar. The prayer will be led in Islam and the others are allowed to follow. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa azwajihi wa dzurriyyatihi azmain. Allahumma sholli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma ahrizna min zulumatil wahmi wa akrimna binuril fahmi. Wahtan alaina bima rifatil ilmi wa sakhil lana abwaba fadlika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma zidna ilman nafi'an wa amalan mutakabbalan wa rizkan halalan thayyiban mubarakan bifadlika wa karamika wa rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, who has given us the opportunity to gather in this international webinar. We ask you, Ya Allah, to grant us your mercy and guidance so that we may benefit from this webinar and gain useful knowledge that will benefit us in this life and the next. Ya Allah, we ask you to facilitate and smooth the process of learning and discussion today. Give us strength and patience to continue learning and improving ourselves, and grant us wisdom and understanding in our pursuit of knowledge. We also ask you, Ya Allah, to grant us health and safety, and to give us the strength to continue working and contributing to the progress of our community and society. Protect us from harm and evil, and guide us to the path of righteousness. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful, we begin this international webinar with the theme Global Trends in the Property and Real Estate Industry. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always grant us His mercy and guidance, and may we emerge from this gathering with a deeper understanding and appreciation of the topic discussed. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to continue our program with welcome speech. And the first welcome speech will be delivered by the chairman of the Indonesian Society of Appraisers. Please welcome Insinyur Budi Prasojo, MEC, DEF, MAPPI, certified.
Thank you, Bu Yosi Indah. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Salam kebajikan. Ladies and gentlemen, yang kami hormati, Profesor Dr. Murianto Amin, Rektor USU, and all staff, Profesor Poppy Hasibuan, Profesor Tengku Sabrina, and my colleague, Profesor Dr. Elizabeth Siahaan. Yang saya hormati Mr. Joko Suranto, SH, Ketua REI, and Professor Kwan Oakley, the lecturer, Bussiness, and Mr. Rusmin Lawin, President of FIABCI Asia Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, MAPPI, as 44 years old appraisal organization, continue to foster and encourage the improvement of the appraisal competencies, including through collaboration activities and cooperation with universities such as MMPP USU, especially increasing the knowledge and insight of the appraiser on the international scale. One of appraisal competencies is mastering and being able to understand property market condition, whether on a national, regional, and international. MAPPI welcomed the holding on the MMPP USU International Webinar with the theme Global Trend in the Property and Real Estate Industry. Responding to the property trend, it cannot be separate from macroeconomic condition, especially in Indonesia. Quoting the explanation of the Indonesian Minister of Finance, Ibu Sri Mulyani, as follows: the stability of a financial system in the first quarter of 2025 remain maintained amidst increasing uncertainty in the economy and global finance market, driven by U.S. government import tariff policy. Amid global uncertainty, the Indonesia economy is expected to remain positive. Indonesia economic growth 2025 is expected to reach 5%, supported by household consumption, the sustainability of the implementation of PSN, as well as private investment and fairly good export performance. Inflation remain under control within the target range of 2.5% until 3.5%, where the inflation is March in 2025 was 2.48%. The performance of the state budget in the first quarter of the 2025 is still well maintained with the control deficit. Meanwhile, the commercial property rental price index during the 2020 until 2024 period grew by 9% or 3% per year, where this growth is still relatively small compared before the COVID-19 disaster. While property selling price tend to fall during COVID-19 until minus 30% and began to improve after COVID-19 period and 2024 election. However, in early 2025, the property market seems to be still in the position of waiting for impact of the U.S. government import tariff policy. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, this seminar can provide broader insight for the students, appraiser, and practitioner in general about the condition and trend of national property in the regional and international region. We hope that this seminar provide tangible benefit, foster long-term cross-country collaboration, and strengthen Indonesia's valuer position in the global valuation ecosystem. Thank you for your cooperation that has been established so far between MAPPI and MMPP USU. Hopefully, we get more benefit and combine the benefit in the wider community. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Insinyur Budi Prasojo, MEC Dev MAPPI certified as the chairman of the Indonesian Society of Appraisers for the welcome speech given. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with another welcome speech, and this time it will be delivered by Mr. Joko Suranto as the Director of Real Estate Indonesia. Please welcome. Do you have Mr. Joko Suranto? Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, apparently Mr. Joko has a problem with the connections. So now we're going to continue with the next welcome speech. And this time it will be delivered by Rector Universitas Sumatera Utara, represented by the third Vice Rector of Universitas Sumatera Utara. And also like to the Honorable, the third Vice Rector, to give a welcome speech and also to declare this international webinar open. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Profesor Dr. Poppy Angelisa Zaitun Hasibuan, SSC, MSc, Apoteker.
Thank you to our wonderful MC, Mrs. Yosi Indahyuni. Good morning and warm greetings to everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, and greetings of peace. The Honorable Insinyur Budi Prasojo, MAC Dev MAPPI certified as Chairman of the Indonesian Society of Appraisers, the Honorable Joko Suranto SHM as Chairman of Real Estate Indonesia, our respected speakers for today, Mr. Rusmin, Lawin, SHC, and Firecs as President the International Real Estate Federation Asia Pacific, and Professor Kwan of Lee, Professor of Real Estate Business School, National University of Singapore, our respected moderator, Mr. Dany Perdana, Sitompul STMM, the Honorable Chairman of Regional Board of Real Estate Indonesia, Mr. Rakuta Karu SE, MMPP, and all his esteemed team, all honorable members of Real Estate Indonesia, the Honorable Head of Master Program in Management, Property, and Valuation, Postgraduate School, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Sihaan, MSc, the Honorable Chair of the Organizing Committee and Secretary of the Master's Program in Property Management and Valuation, Postgraduate School of Universitas Sumatera Utara, Mrs. Isnen Fitri STMN PhD, distinguished lecturers, students, and alumni of the Master Program in Property Management and Valuation, undergraduate and graduate students of Universitas Sumatera Utara, and professional appraisers. Praise and gratitude we extend to the Almighty God who has granted us grace, health, and opportunity so that we can gather today in the international webinar organized by the Master's Program in Property Management and Valuation, Postgraduate School of Universitas Sumatera Utara, with the theme Global Trends in the Property and Real Estate Industry. This theme is raised as a response to the rapidly evolving dynamics and challenges in the property and real estate industry, both at the national and global levels. We live in a time where changes occur very rapidly, technology develops swiftly, consumer preferences shift, and environmental challenges become increasingly complex. The world of real estate, which was once only associated with physical development and investment, has now evolved into a highly strategic sector in driving economic growth, urban planning, social inclusivity, and environmental sustainability. Current global trends indicate that technologies such as property technology have begun to change the way we design, manage, and market properties. On the other hand, environmental issues have created a need for development of green buildings, energy efficient structures, and eco-friendly residential areas. We are also witnessing how urbanization and digitalization create both pressure and new opportunities for urban planning and development of smart cities, especially in Asian countries. Through this webinar, we all enrich our insights and open a space for beneficial cross-perspective discussions, not only in the academic context, but also in practice and policy making in the real estate sector. On this occasion, we will listen to presentation from outstanding speakers with extensive experience in the field of real estate, both at the national and international levels, namely Mr. Rusmin Lawin, as President of the International Real Estate Federation Asia Pacific, and practical insights from Professor Kwan Lee from the National University of Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that by participating in this event, we not only gain valuable knowledge, but also become motivated to continue developing ourselves and contributing to creating a better environment through eco-friendly, inclusive, and sustainable properties. I hope this event runs smoothly, filled with constructive discussion and provide real solution for the future of the property world. Once again, thank you to all parties who have participated and supported the organization of this event. May God Almighty always bless every step we take. I declare this webinar open. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much once again, Professor Dr. Poppy Angelisa Zaitun Hasibuan, SSC, MSc, Apotheker as the third Vice Rector Universitas Sumatera Utara, representing Rector Universitas Sumatera Utara for the welcome speech given, and also to declare this international webinar open. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This international webinar has officially opened by the Rector said. We hope that this event will run smoothly as we expect it to be. So now, before we move on to the main event of the day, which is the presentations of the keynote speakers, we're going to have a photo session. Therefore, I would like to invite all of the participants to open their camera and give your best smile, so the committee will easily capture your presence at this international webinar. So I hope you're all ready. And on my mark, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more time. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to officially begin this event with the international webinar presentations by the keynote speakers, with Professor Kwan from National University of Singapore Business School, Mr. Rusmin Lawin, President of FIABCI Asia Pacific, and this session will be moderated by Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul, STMM. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we handing out this session to the moderator, I would like to read a short CV of the moderator. Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul is an entrepreneurship lecturer, mainly focusing on design thinking and marketing, mentor and coach several business in Medan and teach in varieties of universities. Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul finished his bachelor program in the Industrial Engineering Universitas Sumatera Utara in the year of 1999 and finished his Magister Management in the year of 2008 in the same university, which is Universitas Sumatera Utara as well. Right now, Mr. Dany is the CEO at the Amira Aesthetic Center and also as a lecturer at Universitas Sumatera Utara and more. So without further ado, please welcome the moderator, Dany Perdana Sitompul, STMM.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yossi, for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today a very good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's seminar on global trends in the poverty and estate industry. It is an honor to be your moderator for this important and insightful event, where we will delve into the evolving landscape of property and real estate at the global level. In recent years, we can see the real estate sector has faced dynamic shifts driven by technology, sustainability imperatives, urban migration, and also geopolitical developments. This seminar aims to explore these pressing trends and to identify strategies and navigating the opportunities and challenges ahead. We also are truly privileged to have with us today two distinguished keynote speakers who bring both academic depth and real-world expertise to this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, our first keynote speaker, it is my pleasure to introduce Professor Kwan Oakley. Professor Lee is the Deputy Head of the Department of Real Estate at the prestigious National University of Singapore Business School. She holds a PhD in Policy, Planning, and Development from the University of South California, and a master's degree in Urban Planning from Harvard University. Her undergraduate studies are completed with magna cum laude honors at Ehwa Women's University in Korea. Professor Lee's research focuses on real estate and urban planning, including housing affordability, neighborhood dynamics, and household residential choices. Topics maybe today that are incredibly relevant in today's global real estate challenges. She also actively serves as an editor and associate editor for several leading international journals in real estate and urban studies. Today she will share her insights on the shifting trends in urban development and housing markets around the world. Also with us today, our second keynote speaker, Mr. Rusmin Lawin. Mr. Lawin is the president of FIABCI Asia Pacific and a senior expert to the chairman of the Ibu Kota Nusantara Authority, Indonesia's new capital city project. He is a highly respected figure in the real estate sector with extensive experience in property development, investment advisory, and international real estate negotiations. His educational background includes a Bachelor of Law from Universitas Sumatera Utara, and he is currently pursuing his doctorate in business administration at Help University in Malaysia. He is also a FIABCI certified international real estate consultant with experiences representing FIABCI at the United Nations in Geneva and Vienna. Today, Mr. Lawin will offer us a global perspective on real estate investment trends, infrastructure development, and cross-border collaboration in the property industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to thank you for joining us. And today, we will have also a Q&A session where our participants can join the chat box that we have. So every question you can type in the chat box. We will have our Q&A sections after both of our keynote speakers deliver their presentation. So yeah, so today a slide of change. We will start for our first keynote speech from Mr. Rusmin Lawin. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Rusmin Lawin to deliver his presentation. Mr. Rusmin Lawin, the floor is yours.
Okay, just wait a minute. I didn't expect I'll be shifted to the first speaker, but okay, I'm ready.
Thank you, Mr. Lawin.
So if we are okay, thank you everyone. Good morning, everyone. Buongiorno uh, to all the esteemed speakers, our colleagues from the USU Rectorate, because and also Ms. Elizabeth, thank you for inviting me, and Dany, our super talented host, and all the participants from especially from Medan, because it is just for me, it's just like balik kampung, because I was born in Medan, and also I was alumni of USU. I joined law faculty in 1989 and graduated 94, and until I graduated like 2002. So USU is my hometown, actually. It's my home, actually. So thank you for inviting me, because I can come back and then contribute something today. I'm my alma mater. So the reason why I put Nusantara as one of for the last, referring to the PricewaterhouseCoopers, Nusantara is one of the trend, one of the super project for the last 10 years. One of the biggest super project for the last 10 years in the world. So it's about 33 billion USD. It's quite phenomenal, because for the last 10 years, only one country that recently moved the capital city or government city, which is Sejong, Korea. They're starting from 2012, and because I was the one who involved in the beginning with Bappenas Ministry, and also one of the members of this committee that created by President Joko Widodo before Nusantara's authority started. So I would like to, it's my job to socialize, because this project still lack of information to the public, because most of us still doubt about Nusantara. But I would like to say that you will see the pictures and we will see the progress. You will be surprised, because Nusantara is such a phenomenal project. Everyone talk. When I travel the world, to promote Indonesian real estate since 2008. I traveled the world for the last 5 years, promote this Nusantara, and most of people asking me about Nusantara. How's your project? Because for investor, moving capital city is something. So they are looking for this kind of fresh market, and also we were heavily involved by governments, especially during President Joko Widodo. Then this is something like attract a lot of tech provider as well as a lot of big name in real estate play. So I would like to introduce Nusantara. Nusantara is a capital city that's outside of this Jawa Island. It's in Kalimantan Island. It's in Kalimantan. It takes about one and a half hour to fly to Kalimantan. This is a capital city just move from island to island. It's not like Egypt, not like Korea. It's just next door, but this one is move from island to island. So this is Nusantara. Next. Yes, it is. Nusantara is one of the this green and sustainable compliance capital city, because we have a lot of this parameter. We have a lot of guidelines. You can see that it must be sustainable, and we appreciate economy, because government want to put the center economy to the east, because for the acceleration of spreading the wealth of economic Indonesia, because we know that for the West Java and the West side is absorb, I think, more than 60% of the GDP. It's not fair. So if we can create another epicenter of economy in the east, maybe the economic spread, economic wealth spreading will be more faster. So this is good for the country. And one thing is about the nation pride. We must be proud of this capital city, because why? Because Jakarta or Batavia was made by Dutch. This is originally the first new capital city and the only one that created by Indonesia itself. Okay, so we must be proud of that. Next. Operator, can you help me, please? Yeah, this is it. Here, Nusantara have 5 character principle. It must be smart, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. So this is the first smart forest city in the world where we are. You can see that, and government declare that before 2045, it has to be carbon neutral city compliant. And in Nusantara, there will be only EV car allowed, and also green energy allowed. So we are proud because this is the first smart city that complies with green and sustainable compliance. Yeah, because it's a kind of a concept of 50-minute city, 50-minute city where you can walk not more than 50 minutes to the station, to your home, to your apartment, to your working place. It's just about 15 minutes walk. So government encourage for people to walk, not to driving a car. But if you drive a car, it must be EV-based car. Next. Yeah. Besides moving, if we are creating a new city, what do you need? You need population. Where are the populations today? So this is public's question, big question. The question will be, government will move, but through the referring to the Bappenas planning, government is going to move like 400,000 years, but so by stages, because we still have Nusantara still have to provide housing and residential and facility for the people to move. So besides government officer, local, because there are local people there, like 100,000 local residents there, Mr. Paku. You need what? You need economic generator. You need the second prime mover. The second prime mover is industry. So we can see the government has provided 9 clusters of industry, from government core, KIPP, kawasan industri pemerintah, kawasan inti pemerintahan, government core, where you can buy land, build facility like hotel, restaurants, apartment, office, showroom there, retail. And also the second, we have economic and financial center. You see the cluster. And the third will be renewable energy area. And the fourth will be tourism and leisure. The fifth will be education services. Innovation. The sixth will be is the innovation research, growth, commodity and trade and logistics. Eight is the agriculture industry, and the last one is fishery and agriculture. So I remind again that Nusantara size is 256,000 hectares, where it's a land side, and also we have water side. You see on the right side, water side is about 80,000 hectares. So totally we have 323,000 hectares. Next. So this is it, the size. So you see, from the total, we only build 25%. 25% as a property development and facility, plus 10% for national food security, ketahanan pangan, which is President Prabowo champion program. Next. So this is Nusantara is located in the middle of 2 big cities. It's an old city. During the last time was created, Balikpapan and Samarinda. Balikpapan in the south and Samarinda on the north side. So you can see that we have a 2 buffer city to support Nusantara. So It's easy and it's much easier because it's not in the middle of jungle, no one there. It's already existing population, existing economic activities, just to polish it and move it and push it to move faster. So the government used the three concept city where we can go together with the hinterland of Samarinda and Balikpapan. Next. This is the populations of the whole Kalimantan, and we are quite sure that we can achieve 2 million people in next 10 years. Next. Dany, can you move the slide, please?
Operator, can you move the slide? Yeah.
Yeah. So building a city, I told everyone, building city takes time, right? You see a city like BST, it takes about 30 years. So that's why Nusantara has a 2-year span, 5-year span, 10-year span, and 20-year span. So we're hoping that when reaching 2045, we already achieve about the growth will be something like 42%, which is designed like a DC. So a lot of people don't understand that we are not creating the busy city like a Jakarta. We are creating Nusantara. The government is creating a city that like a DC, Washington DC. It's very calm. Students there, a lot of park there. You can enjoy yourself in the park, reading your book, riding bicycle, enjoy and walking from park to park. This is maximum is about 2 million people. So it's not going to be like a Jakarta, like a very hectic and also a busy, vibrant city. So it's more like calm, like Sejong in Korea, like Astana in Kazakhstan. Okay, next. Yeah, this is the phases that tell. So we are now in the second to the third phases because government call like Istana, facility, Ministry Office of the forecaster already created, including 4 hospitals is already in operating, 2 hotels in operating. We Nusantara receive about 5,000 visitors every week. You imagine that? So it's really happening. Then we hope. If not because of COVID, I think we already started to move the government already started to move the government servant, but because of COVID, it's suspended 2 years. So it looks like a very hurry, but actually no, we are accelerating to achieve the shortfall during the COVID time. Next. So this is the progress that the latest progress that I have to tell you, because in northern Sumatra especially, there's still a lot of people doesn't know where is Nusantara. Imagine that. So I think it's my job to socialize to my hometown people. This is Nusantara proudly. You can see the Garuda Palace. You see the very grand. The Garuda Palace is already completed. You can take, if you go there, you can take a picture with the Garuda Palace background. Next. Yeah, this is it. You see what we completed is Garuda Palace, State Palace, Ceremony Court, Ceremony Plaza, the 4 Quarantine Ministry Office completed, and we completed also 12 government servant resident towers, and also Memorial Park, Visitor Center, as well as the west and east side, Sumbu Kebangsaan road and facilities. So there's a lot of accomplishment already. So if you visit there, you will feel like very proud, and because there's a lot of things to see and to enjoy, and it's very most important is very Instagrammable. So you can come, do selfie, and post it and show to your friend and public. The second one is total investment and partnership achieved. We already have about 4 billion USD committed with the corporations land signing ceremony. They are, and also they already about 445 letter of intent of investor from all around the world to send to us. How big is the to invest in Nusantara? So we have done so far. Nusantara have done 8 groundbreaking for the investor, and we are waiting for the 9th. And so far, we already have commitment of 3.9 billion USD per project of the 42 investor. And also, you can see that of development of supporting infrastructure and ecosystem connectivity, we really have a connectivity support by a 27-kilometer road for IKN accessibility. Development of Bendungan Sepaku Semoy to fulfill basic waters. So the water is there. It's not like what we heard in the social media. True urban bus services has been developed within 15 minutes headway to the government core area. The 4.5 fiber optic installed out of the 29.5 kilometer plan in government core. So this is Nusantara achievement today. Very proud to announce that. It's not what you think, and I hope that this MAPPI USU can initiate the tour. I would like to guide you there. We would like to guide you there to see, because seeing is believing. Okay. Thank you. Next. Yeah. And a lot of questions here. Where are the investors, especially the foreign investor? Is it the one that you heard you heard in social media? There's a lot of hate speech. They're saying, "Oh, there's no investor, there's no foreign investor. They are fake news. Government lie to the people." No. Today we prove you that we already have at least 6 foreign companies. You can see one. The first one is from Hong Kong, because I brought it myself. He's my good friend. They are going to build hotel and retail and office there, mixed use. Second one is from Russia, the one that Russian developer based in Bali. They are going to do a hotel and apartment as well. And you see the collaboration of this national company and also with foreign company. You see that MAPPI Hospital is working with Apollo Hospital from India, and Putra Alam Consortium is operated by Swiss Hotel. It's already in operations now. You see the power PLN solar green energy working with Semcop from Singapore, and also you see Pertamina and Patra Jasa and Bakri Group. They are going to develop a Nusantara Sustainable Hub for Research and Center, partner with Stanford School of Sustainability from US. And also Hotel Papua International is a 4-star Swiss-based hotel. And the last one is Pakuan Nusantara Abadi, is hotel and apartment operated by GW Mineral from USA. So this is it. This is the progress. They are now they are preparing to construct the site. Okay. So beside that, this one direct investment. The other one is the PPP investment scheme, KPBU in Indonesia. We say KPBU. We have committed from this country, 6 foreign country, is about 21.4 trillion rupiah to grow. You imagine that there's a lot of project already committed, and also we are Nusantara is moving forward, of course, with the support of Indonesian citizens. Next. Yeah, this is the one that I said that mentioned that is PPP project. We already have this about 60 trillion rupiah committed for PPP project from about 6 investors. You see from India Karya, from BUMN, government state company, Indonesian national company, and also foreign company like Malaysia and China. You see this is the data that mentioned that they are already processed almost 18 months and almost completed the agreement. Next. Yeah, this is another one for PPP project as well. It's about 70 trillion committed. They are going to build, the investor is going to build a multi-utility tunnel. So Nusantara, what beauty of Nusantara? There's no electric bar above the road. All must be underground, including fiber optic, this sewerage, electric cable, and also water supply pipe must be underwater. So this is what we call multi-utility tunnel. This is constructed by 9 potential investors from Malaysia, from nationals, state-owned company, from private sector, and also from China. Next, it's about 70 trillion rupiah. So it's already committed like more than I think 200 trillion rupiah as a project commitment. And beside that, we also have a government assigned a PPP Renewable Energy for Nusantara is initiated by PLN and Semco from Singapore. It's about 60 million USD. And the other one from UAE, from Masdar, is about 300 million USD. It's about 200 megawatt. Next. Yeah, we recently, for the last 6 months, we held a lot of these agreement signing with all investors, sign the land allocations, corporate agreement, perjanjian kerjasama pengelolaan lahan is a commitment to use the land 80 years plus 80 years with the Nusantara chairman Pak Basuki. You see recently there's a lot of activity with the 42 domestic and foreign business actors has been signed. Next. Now this is the progress. You can see that the infrastructures project, Garuda Palace, and also this president office, the white one. The Garuda shape is we name it Garuda Palace, and also the field of the ceremony, lapang upacara, and you see this 4 cluster of this Secretariat office, Manchester office, and also you see the bridge Pulau Balang that connected Balikpapan to the IKN, and also you can see that they have been established, completed soon 4 cluster of this Quality Minister office. So it will be 16 tower will be operated to serve the public. Next. Yeah, this is the real picture. It's not AI. You can see that we already completed what we call a Sumbu Kebangsaan Plaza ceremony, where you can selfie with the background of Istana Garuda, and also we have completed like about 45 units of this ministry residential, and also we have Taman Kusuma Bangsa. You see the wings there. It's very beautiful if you take picture, and also with the background of Nusantara. Wonderful. And also the toll road almost completed. If the last phase of toll completed, you just did about 40 minutes to travel from Balikpapan Airport to Nusantara. Next. Yep. Yeah, and you can see that the toll road still on progress, but the airport is already actually the runway is already been done, but just it takes time to expand the land side, which is the gate and also the airport facility. For runway is already completed because President Jokowi has landed the first time last year in Nusantara using private jet. So we also with Bendungan, this water dam Pagus Semoy, phase 1 and phase 2. and also this water treatment facility. You can see that. So the water is guaranteed in Nusantara if you live there. Next. And you can see that this is what we call as green energy. Is a solar energy, solar panel energy of PLN and also come from Singapore. You can see Bank Indonesia's tower office, Swiss Hotel, and this PSSE, this is a training center for football. And also you can see Hospital Hamina is in operations, especially for cancer. And also MAPPI Hospital, so they are in the operations now. And the other one is a hospital from the Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Next. And you can see development progress of various expert and external institutions have been involved with us to achieving the world-class city for all what we name is a smart city. You can see that we have a smart city master plan with USAID. We have a training joint R&D for the air mobility, expand air mobility with Hyundai, and we have a system from ADB to develop a livable city. And also we have a Finland support for measuring happiness index. And also we have a data management water from Netherlands. And also SDG token for development by Islamic Development Bank. So we also have Center for Livable City, development of sustainable forest city, and also we're supporting of the ex-Prime Minister of UK. We can see you develop education and Tony Blair. We have an education and health sector and health sector development. Next. So this is it. We achieved the 808, the eighth phase of the eighth stage of this groundbreaking. You can see it's about 3.9 billion USD. I repeat again. You see, we have 42 investors from local, national players, regional player, until international player, from various sector, from like a property sector, like a retail sector, like a financial sector, all the banks, national banks, private sector bank like BCA, CIMB has committed to develop in Nusantara. Next. Yeah, we have a principle that we have a one-stop service center, and also we have a lot of this facility like fiscal and non-fiscal. Non-fiscal is we have a ease of doing business, so there will be no tax there, BBRTB. The HGB of a commission fee, and housing also we support government support for this employees housing provisions for the people to work and stay there. So we also have fiscal incentive. There will tax holiday. So there's no company tax. There's no also this personal tax, income tax. There's no VAT, and also we have tax break, and also we have you can enjoy the custom duty exemption period until 6 years during the construction of the project in Nusantara. So this is the beauty. We are actually it's a free tax zones until 30 years. This is what public still doesn't understand, and also most of them still not well informed. That's why I come here to put this project to inform our friend from Northern Sumatra, because Northern Sumatra has a lot of big investor, because big old money from especially from sawit and also rubbers, and also cocoa business from early days. So welcome to Nusantara. You can invest in Nusantara now. Next. Yeah, Nusantara is created for collaborations of the private sector and government sector. governments just contribute like 20% for basic infrastructures and facility and amenities, but 80% hoping from the private sectors, especially from the national player and also global players. Next. This is the process of the submitting proposal to work with the Nusantara Authority. Is online. This process is online, and you can see the expresses is transparent. Then you're welcome to come to Nusantara office to have a chat with our colleagues there, and they will guide you how to invest in Nusantara. Next. Thank you. Terima kasih for the time, and I would like to enjoy the Q&A. Thank you. Maulete.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawin, for this insightful presentation about also the development of IKN. I think everyone had a very good session for this one. But as I stated before, we will have our Q&A sessions after both of our keynote speakers deliver their presentations. So, ladies and gentlemen, after Mr. Rusmin Lawin gave his presentation, very insightful one, now we will move forward for a second keynote speaker. As I stated before, Professor Lee is the deputy head of department of the real estate at the prestigious National University of Singapore Business School. And she is now here with us today. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Professor Kwan Oakley. Professor Kwan, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this event, and thank you for joining on Saturday morning. So must be a very hardworking group of hardworking people. It's not the most exciting thing to do on Saturday morning, but anyways, I will try to make my talk as interesting as possible so that you feel a bit rewarded after the talk. All right, so I am going to talk about the future of real estate. I'm going to focus on three dimensions: sustainability, technology, and globalization. I think a lot of these things were already mentioned a little bit by the first keynote speaker. I actually learned a lot about Nusantara from the first talk, and personally, I'm very interested in also how the Nusantara development will ongoing. So thank you for sharing a lot of interesting updates and kind of what's going on there. Do you guys see my screen properly? PowerPoint screen? Is it?
Yes, we see the PowerPoint.
Okay, good. So let me just briefly mention what I'm going to talk about today. So here's the outline. I will start with some inspiring facts. Why do we care about real estate? Then real estate is quite dynamic. It's not static, right? So I'm going to talk about what are the sort of drivers that make real estate so dynamic, and it consistently changes. And also it has a very different context across different cities and countries. So I'm going to talk about several different things for the driver that make this real estate markets and industry very dynamic. First one is demographic dynamics and changes. Second, economic development. And then last one is globalization. The first keynote speaker already mentioned how the Nusantara is collaborating with a lot of different countries, right? So globalization is very, very important for cross-border real estate investment, and then how the built environment in the different cities are shaped. Then the dynamics is going to be how these demo economic transition and climate change and technological advancement are sort of moving the real estate industry toward the future, and then the future I'm going to talk about the sustainable development and property technology. And then the last one is going to be the takeaway. So let me begin with a big sort of fact. A lot of people are surprised that real estate accounts for the largest asset class in the world. So if you look at the right side figure, together with the commercial real estate and then residential real estate, it accounts for more than 300 trillion US dollars. It's a lot more than bigger than the debt or the equity investment in the finance industry, because most of the people, including ourselves, housing is the biggest asset. You know, your home is the biggest asset for you. Not many people have a lot more cash or, you know, a lot more bonds or securities than their housing value. So it actually makes sense then, you know, that the larger portion of asset class is actually belonging to real estate. So that's why we care about that. Of course, you know, whether we are a big fan of Trump or not, Trump also said that the real estate is at the core of almost every businesses. So when we talk about the real estate, it's not only about our homes, it's about the office, it's about the logistics, it's about the shopping malls, right? So this is really the corporate real estate, you know, that drives the businesses, and that actually is really driving people's wealth. Okay. And even before Trump, long time ago, Franklin Roosevelt, you know, the president of America, he also said real estate cannot be lost or stolen, and also it's not going to be carried away. So it is really the unique sort of asset class. And I'm not sure if this statement is still true, but it is about the safest investment in the world, you know, because it's not a piece of paper. We have a physical asset. We have something that is real, right? So let me bring you to Singapore's history a little bit. I'm sure that most of the Indonesians are very familiar with you know, what's going on in Singapore, and it's because we are neighboring countries. But in Singapore, when it became independent from Malaysia in 1965, it was a very, very poor country. The GDP per capita was only $428. The land is limited. Natural resource was not there. Productivity was very low. Poverty was everywhere. Education level was low. And of course, you know, the foreign relationships and diplomacy were also very poor, right? And now Singapore is number one richest country in Asia, obviously, and then number two in the world. And then it is the city with the best investment potential. And then a lot of people say it's the easiest place to do the business. Whether it is because Singapore is an English-speaking country, but also it has an excellent corporate investment environment. Not to mention, because we are in the real estate industry, a lot of grade A, very high quality office and other sort of commercial real estate, in addition to very, very nicely designed homes, right? And then what's really the core of this Singapore's economic success, and you know what drove this? I think a lot of them actually is real estate. So Singapore is a very small city-state with a land area of only 334 square kilometers, right? Population is only 6 million people. Very small. However, Singapore has achieved 90% homeownership rate together with a very successful economy, right? So how did Singapore have achieved this success with a limited land resource? You know, this is something that I want to talk a little bit about now. Singapore has a very comprehensive urban planning. If some of you are in the urban planning industry, you know, obviously Nusantara has been planned also, you know, in the long term. And then I know it has a very comprehensive plan. Singapore's master plan has been starting from 1960s, and you can see it has a very comprehensive population projection. This long-term plan is done every 10 years to meet the future needs and then future growth, right? So you can see what is the vision for the city, and also what is the main economic projection and then the population projection in the different decades, right? So to meet these economic goals and to meet the population needs, the urban planning has evolved in every decade, right? For example, when it was 1970, that time Singapore was still growing, in a very developed country status. So most of the jobs and the industry focused on the manufacturing, more skill intensive sort of industry. And then the population was only 2.4 million people. So that sort of urban plans and then the how the city will be built and infrastructure will be developed will be totally different from the 2000 and beyond, when we focus more on the innovation and knowledge intensive industry for economic development. And also now we have more than 5 million people in the island, right? So you can see the plan itself has evolved over time. And a lot of, I think, Indonesians will be also familiar with this Singapore's land reclamation strategies. I know in some Indonesian cities also have done the reclamation, but Singapore has achieved 25% of its current land through land reclamation, right? So you can see gradually, it's not like at one time, right? It gradually expanded its land by reclaiming strategically where we can actually do more reclamation and then expand its territory. So, because Singapore's biggest sort of challenge is a limited land resource. So by expanding and, having the long-term plan with this land reclamation, how to expand its land size, it's quite important, Singapore's economic growth, and how to accommodate the increasing population as well, right? And you can, of course, imagine one of the biggest kind of reclaimed land area has been used for Changi Airport in the right side, right? And then also the other sort of big industrial development in Singapore, which is in Tuas and Jurong Island, is also reclaimed land. With this kind of more reclaimed land and then strategic urban planning, what Singapore has achieved is we have many employment nodes, where we're going to place different industries across the island, and sort of for the higher productivity, we need the agglomeration of the industry, right? So what we do is in the more central area, everybody should be familiar. I am sure most of you have visited Singapore. So CBD area, Central Business District area, most of the industry there will be the finance and business hub, right? And then of course, near the Changi Airport, we have aviation hub, and then more to the western area, which Jurong Island and Tuas Port is there. Is actually, Tuas Port is close to Malaysia, Johor side, right? That we have a high-tech manufacturing industry. And then the northern part, which we include the Woodlands Business Center, it has a lot of food and digital hub, right? So even though Singapore is a small city, in different parts of the city, we have a different economic development and industrial development. So that actually drives the city's economic success, right? One of the sort of the unique feature of Singapore's industrial development is we have the government agency called Jurong Town Corporation, JTC. So JTC is the statutory board under the Ministry of Trade. And then JTC has been a main sort of driver. Hello. Okay, I think yeah. So the JTC has been a main driver of this industrial development. It's a public industrial developer basically, and you can see on the right side of the figure, JTC's model is quite interesting because it doesn't. The JTC is not only developing the industrial parks, but also it maintains the ownership of the most of the industrial parks that it has developed, right? So you can see its liability, the debt is very small because what it does is it keeps its own assets, industrial assets, and it rents, a lot of spaces out to the private sector. And of course, that income is huge, rental income is huge. And then with that income, they keep sort of maintaining its capital and then doing the future industrial development. So that's how the model has been evolving. And you can see the Ascendas Sengrid, which used to be the subsidiary of JTC. Now it became the independent, more private sector entity. Ascendas is also the big sort of industrial park developer in Singapore. Now it has ventured into India, and I think some of them are also in Malaysia and Indonesia. So Ascendas has its asset across the different parts of Singapore, and it has a diverse portfolio, starting from the business and science part, also to logistics, and also more specification industrial property, high specification industrial properties, right? So with that, these kind of industrial park is shaping really the platform for how the economic success and industrial development and diverse sort of industrial development can happen in the city. Okay. The other sort of big trend right now in this commercial real estate is the data centers, right? With the rise of the AI and all this IT technology. So you can see, the global distribution of the data centers, where the data centers are located, right? And surprisingly, Singapore is a very, very small city. However, it has more than 1,000 data centers right now. It's the biggest in the world compared to any other global cities, right? And you can see KL has 233, but Singapore has 1,000 with its limited land. Actually, if Singapore wants, it can have even more. The only challenge is electricity, right? Because the data centers require the huge usage of industrial electricity, and then that actually is becoming sort of increasingly challenging in Singapore. And also, not to mention, it's a limited land resource, right? But AI and data centers are the key driver of industrial development right now across the world. So this is something that I want to emphasize. The other sort of driver of industry, real estate industry right now is globalization. It's not very, very new. It has been around, for several decades already. And I'm sure most of the big cities in Indonesia, including Jakarta and even like Java Island, a lot of forces of the development are coming from the globalization, right? The foreign developers want to come to Jakarta and develop the luxury housing estates or commercial real estate. So that is happening in a lot of different part of the world. You can see the 4 different pictures here, right? And then I'm not sure how interactive I can be, but can anybody guess which city these are? You can type in the chat if you want. So, interesting is, it looks, these look quite similar, right? But these are 4 different cities. The left side corner, the upper side is London is what? Where? Which photo is London? So then Daniel and Freddie say London, but right below, correct, that's London. What about the upper left? Correct, Dany is good. New York, yeah, that's Manhattan. Then what about the in the center, the bottom? Oh, Freddie is correct. So that's good. Then what about the remaining picture in the right side, the upper? Not Hong Kong, it's actually the Seoul, the bottom one. And then the remaining one picture is actually Sao Paulo. So what I want to try to say here is that all these global cities, right? Because New York, London, Sao Paulo, global cities functions are quite similar because it's usually away from manufacturing. A lot of these global cities host the MNCs, multinational companies with finance or banking industries, a lot of accounting firms, and some law firms that service these large corporates, right? So that becomes the shape driver of these global cities because we need really the large chunk of the grade A offices and very good facilities, infrastructure to accommodate this global demand, right? So I think that is a question from Randra. I'm actually welcoming you have any questions. You can type in the chat and I am happy to reply and explain whenever you have a question, right? So Randra's question is, how is property ownership in Singapore and what the rules for property ownership in Singapore? So I'm not sure what property are you referring to. If it is a residential, it is usually 99 years lease. So when we say ownership, home ownership, I earlier mentioned that Singapore has a 90% home ownership. It is a 99 years lease in the most cases. Of course, there is some freehold, but most of residential properties in Singapore are now 99 years lease. That means after 99 years, it's actually going back to government. So basically, Singapore government owns 90% of land in Singapore right now. When it actually released the land for either residential or the commercial development, it has a lease period, right? So like I said, for residential, it's usually 99 years. For the commercial, it can be shorter. It can be 30 years. It can be 60 years. If it is a mixed-use development, like a residential together with an office or the other sort of commercial purposes, it can be also 99 years. Or, for the different parts of the property, it can have a different lease period. So hopefully that answers your question. And the large portion of the residential market also, it can be rented, right? The private landlords can rent their housing. So during this 99 years lease period, you can do whatever you want, right? You can sell in the free market with a remaining lease, or you can rent your homes to other renters, right? So that's the property tenure. Okay. So like I said, global demand is huge in many global cities, including Singapore. So the real estate plays a very, very important role to this globalization process and to achieve economic success in these global cities. What do we do? In Singapore, you all familiar with the Marina Bay Sands, right? So this left side, upper left side picture is showing how we started with for Marina Bay Sands development. So this was a reclaimed land, as you can see. It started several decades ago. So it's a really long-term plan. And then after settling down the land, the reclaimed land, it now becomes the financial hub, right? So it's a traditional CBD, Central Business District, is the Raffles City, actually. So Raffles City area was the original CBD. Now with this Marina Bay area, they have extended the CBD to the Marina Bay area, which Marina Bay area has a lot more financial institutions. There are a lot of banks, right? If you come to Singapore, the skyline is like a New York. That's why I say the global cities look very, very similar because, again, to accommodate the global demand, we need to prepare with is a very big infrastructure, high quality infrastructure, and then the grade A offices, right? So that's what we see. So we have been very successful in Singapore locally, how to prepare the infrastructure and then the land and then the area for the different part of the industrial development, whether it is a finance industry, like in the Marina Bay area, or whether it is manufacturing or other kind of types of industry across different areas in the city, right? And now let me talk a little bit about the investment story. So if you look at the graph, right? So the left side, the yellow one is the FDI, foreign direct investment flows, right, inflows. And then the green one is the cross-border commercial real estate investment. And for the FDI inflows, it's about like 3% of the GDP, right? So it is actually, the world average. So, of course, some areas have a lot more investment than others, foreign investment than others. And you can see the green one is the cross-border commercial real estate that actually accounts for about 10% of the FDI inflows, which is significant. It can be sometimes more than 10%. You see in the peak of like 2015, it becomes like 0.4% of the GDP, which means more than 10%. And what's interesting is even when the foreign direct investment inflows have decreased after COVID-19, the cross-border commercial real estate investment is still quite sustainable. Now, where are people investing into? Those foreign investors, right? You can see if we account for all investors, London is number 1, Singapore is number 2. And this is amazing because Singapore is a small Asian country, but it can be still ranked number 2. And then after that, there is Toronto, New York, Paris, Berlin, and all this. Tokyo is also there. Now, if we look at only the private investors, right, then Singapore is number 3. And I think there is a question. Let me pull up the question from Professor Elizabeth. With Southeast Asia emerging as a strategic hub for data centers, how are globalization trends and current geopolitical changes shaping investment flows and real estate development in the sector? This is a good question. I think the globalization trends of especially the data center development will be ongoing. I think it will be more significant because the sort of the huge sort of AI industry is evolving in Asia, right? And obviously, the Southeast Asia is actually becoming increasingly attracting for this industry. So I think we have a huge potential. I am not really sure about the geopolitical challenges, how it's going to play out. To me, we have a better potential than European countries, honestly, because European countries have limited land in the first place. But at the same time, they have a more sort of complicated institutional institutions and regulations. For EU, you know that EU has a very stringent ESR, the ESG kind of requirement for real estate development, which makes the data center development is quite challenging there. And I think Southeast Asia, we have relatively sort of more flexible sort of ESG goals. Although I'm going to talk about that later a little more in detail, which I think is increasingly challenging to us too. So I think with that, and also with that institutional background and geopolitically, I think Southeast Asia has a less conflict with the US. Compared to China or Japan or Korea, right? So I think with that, I think we have a huge potential here. I think one downside and one challenge that we have is the climate, because the data centers require a really intensive cooling, as you probably all know. And the Southeast Asia, the weather is very hot and humid. So how do we sort of make this environment for data centers sustainable? With a more energy efficient kind of technologies. I think that will be a key for our future in data center development. Okay, so let me move on to the other sort of dynamics that drive the real estate industry. Okay, so one thing that I want to mention is the demographic changes. We are experiencing a very big challenge in lower fertility rate. So you can see these are the OECD countries. You can see the percentage of the aging population. The left side is aging population. Okay, is growing significantly, right? Yeah, a lot of so if you see it in the right the very right of the left side figure is the world. You know, half of the world population will be aging population in 2017. That's a scary one, right? So that's really oh, sorry, not the half. Right now it's a 10%. It's going to be the 20% in 2017. But a lot of Asian countries, developed Asian countries like Korea and Japan, close to 40% and 50% will be the aging population. That's huge. Okay. On the other hand, so that's one challenge. But on the other hand, we really see the decrease in fertility rate. So you can see I'm originally from South Korea, and I'm very concerned about the Korea's declining birth rate. I don't know if you guys follow, but Korea is the world lowest fertility rate right now. So Korea is actually less than 0.8 for fertility. You know, Elon Musk once said that this country is disappearing. You know, I am very concerned. But you can see, except Israel, all other OECD countries are actually quite low. The average is only 1.5. If we look at the Southeast Asia, right, actually doing better. But of course, you know, Singapore is one of the also the lowest kind of fertility rate. You can see it has actually it fall below 1 in the last year. So it just became very alarming in Singapore. Japan is slightly better. China is already sort of following this trend. Thailand is also kind of like, you know, a big concern is the declining birth rate. Fortunately, Indonesia is still, I think, okay, you know, over 2. But you can see, compared to 1992, the birth rate has been declining, even in Indonesia, right? So, you know, this is one thing that we really want to think about. Now, back to the Korean story, because Korea is the world lowest birth rate country right now. We actually, so this is from the Bank of Korea study, quite interesting. They have done the correlation test between the housing cost in each city of Korea and then fertility rate. Okay, so what they found, you know, Seoul is most expensive housing, of course, right? And then that's where the fertility rate is lowest. Seoul is actually even lower than the national average. So it has only 0.59 fertility, which is like really low. So you can imagine housing affordability is really a big key driver of the people's decision to marry. And you can see on the right side, you know, when they do the randomized kind of analysis, a lot of people say the housing cost is the reason why they do not get married, and also that is the reason why they have fewer children, right? So housing affordability is very important. When we sort of run the regression with all the OECD countries, it showed exactly the similar sort of patterns. You know, when you look at the real housing price, right? Real housing price has a negative association with the fertility rate at the country level. So on top of other things, right, you know, the density or the other sort of female work participation, in fact, the housing affordability is a very important factor that affects people's decision to marry and have children. Okay, so I think I have another question from Professor Elizabeth. What is your view on the current trends of cross-border real estate investment in Southeast Asia and globally? I think I showed you earlier that this is a country by country, you know, only the key sort of areas. I think Singapore is actually, of course, a leading country in Southeast Asia for this cross-border real estate investment. I think we can also think about two different dimensions here, right? One is the commercial, and the other one is the residential. Singapore has attracted cross-border investment from for both dimensions, I think. From my understanding, I'm not an expert in Indonesia or sort of other Southeast East Asian markets, but from my understanding, a lot of residential, a lot of sort of cross-border investment in other Southeast Asian countries are mainly for residential, not a lot for commercial. I think that this may be a key challenge that we want to sort of address, right? Because if a lot of foreign investors only focus on the residential components, this is also from my understanding in Malaysia, because I am a little bit familiar with the Iskandar, Johor development. And many of these foreign developers coming to Johor for the residential, like sort of, luxury apartments there. But not many people, foreign investors actually injected their money in the commercial real estate. One of the reasons is because residential is more short-term, it's easier to make the short-term investment profits because you can just sell off your properties and go away, right? So it is less volatile and, it's easier to achieve the short-term returns. For commercial, you need to usually hold the asset for a longer period, and then that requires a more stable economy for these areas. Southeast Asian office or other commercial markets are still less stable compared to Japan or London, right? Or the United States market. So I think that is one of the things that we want to sort of think about, how to strategically promote and attract more foreign investment to Southeast Asian countries, especially for the commercial real estate. Residential is fine. Because why the residential foreign investment, too much foreign investment in residential is dangerous, is because it affects the housing affordability. I am kind of sure a lot of investment in Jakarta actually has been driven by the foreign investment. Homes, luxury homes, right? Not only there, also Bali. I know several sort of key foreign investors have injected their money to Bali. And then what happened? Housing price goes up there because of this foreign investment, right? Then that affects the housing affordability, not only for foreigners, but also for locals. And that's why the Jakarta becomes very unaffordable because a lot of foreigners invest there, right? That affects this birth rate. Because if you live in Jakarta, now the housing price is very high, driven by the foreign investment. It's actually not good for the local young people, right? So I think ultimate sort of question that we want to ask is how we can balance cross-border investment for the different sectors, not only for homes, because homes are for living, especially for locals, right? So if we make it too investment oriented, that's actually not good for the locals, especially affordability perspective, right? But how can we diversify the foreign investment across different sectors, like data centers that we talked about earlier, or other commercial parts, office and logistics and all these. I think that should be sort of the key things that we want to consider. Aging, I already talked about. A lot of countries have been experiencing aging. The good news to Indonesia again is, compared to other Southeast Asian countries, it actually is doing a pretty good job. Only slightly over sort of 10% of the population will be aged population in 2040. However, if you look at further down, of course, compared to earlier years, Indonesia is, of course, is experiencing also the aging, right? Not any country can be free from this challenge. Why do I concern about the aging society? What is the implication for real estate? Let me show this figure, right? This is from Singapore's public housing. It's not only public housing, it's Singapore's entire housing markets, right? Oh, sorry. You can see the one-person household. When people get older and when we have a lot of seniors in society, what happens is a lot of these seniors are only one person household, right? Because their spouse passed away, or their children all get married and left their homes. What usually these seniors are doing is they still live in the same very big house. Most of them, they do not want to leave their existing home. They don't want to downsize. So at the end, a lot of people overconsume. You can see in the bar graph, on the top, you can see for one person household, a lot of people actually live in the 4-room flats, 5-room flats, even very luxury private condos and landed properties. More than 50% of those older people, right? And that is problematic because, again, with a very limited land resource in Singapore, we want to sort of recycle our housing units so that the bigger units can be used by those families with children, and then the elderly people can downsize to a 1-room or 2 rooms. But that's not actually happening in the real world. That's one concern. The other one is the intergenerational transfer and housing illiquidity. A lot of those seniors have a strong bequest motive. I'm sure in Indonesia, a lot of also parents are considering to inherit their homes to their kids, right? So you can see, this lady in the picture, I think this is from Australia. She is a single mom with a not proper full-time job, but she doesn't worry too much because her parents own 4 properties in Australia. Right. So, of course, no one wants their parents to die. But of course, if people expect some, inheritance from their parents. And the problem of this is not everybody has wealthy parents. This lady is lucky, but a lot of people do not have parents, who own 4 or, even 1 proper properties. Then it's going to increase the inequality, right? And that's one concern. The other concern is not all the properties are welcomed by their children. In Japan, what happened is some older seniors, they pass away, their homes are not really worth to get inherited, either because it's in a very rural village, remote area, or the children do not want to just move into these areas, right? Then a lot of homes are vacant, remain vacant, abandoned. But the problem is if you get inherited this housing, you need to still pay the tax. Property tax is quite high. So even though the value is low, the tax is still payable. So a lot of children do not want to get inherited, right? So the vacant housing becomes a huge issue in Japan. And the other thing is most of these seniors, again, not only seniors, but most of the people, the housing is a big asset for them. The cash is really low, but it's more likely for the seniors because they do not work and the income is very small, right? So for the elderly, very big portion of their assets is the real assets, which is homes. That means for them, they are housing rich but cash poor because this housing is not they cannot really liquidate their housing wealth, right? Then that's also not good because these elderly people cannot liquidate their housing wealth and then have not much cash in their pockets. They need the money for the clinic expenses, for other living expenses, but they do not have enough cash in their hand because most of them are locked in their housing, right? So these are the sort of demographic dynamics. Now let me move a little bit to the remote work. Okay, the remote work has been sort of very increasingly popular after COVID-19. Although the adoption of this, the remote work and the expectation of the remote work is a lot higher in European or the American cities compared to Asia. However, still, even the Asia in Singapore, India, close to 50% would expect a hybrid work will be still there, right? What's the implication of this? In the office market, there will be a higher vacancy rate. Okay, so you can see this is across different metropolitan areas in the U.S. You can see the blue bar is the vacancy rate for offices, and red dot is the vacancy rate for apartments. Okay, You see a lot of cities, including the Houston, Washington, D.C., Chicago, they have a lot higher vacancy rate for the offices compared to the residential. Because now the companies do not need to have such a large office space when a lot of their employees work from home, right? So the vacancy rate for office is going up. Residential demand also changed. So what happened is we call it donut effect. Left side is the Manhattan, the New York, right? New York, among New York City, you can see Manhattan area has seen a huge increase of out migration. So meaning that you used to live in Manhattan because you have your job there and you have to go to office every day. So you don't want to commute like a 1 hour every day, right? So you live in Manhattan. After COVID-19, you only work at the office only twice a week. Why do you live in Manhattan, paying a very high rent and congested areas? You want to move out, probably more the suburban, fringe area of Manhattan. They do not actually move too far away because most of them have to still come back to office every twice or 3 times a week. So they still live in the fringe of areas. That's why the fringe of the New York City actually see the increase in people moving out. Okay, moving in. Sorry, increase in people who are moving in. Similar things actually happen in London. Right, so London areas have seen more people who are moving around, but the suburban areas of London have a more stable population. This is also relevant to what kind of housing environment they really want after COVID-19. So I scraped online listings platform data in Singapore called the Property Group, which is the largest listings platform. So we look at the keywords for the housing units listed there. What were the popular keywords before and after COVID, right? So it's interesting. Before COVID, a lot of advertisements for homes were kind of focusing on how convenient it is to go to MRT stations. MRT is a subway in Singapore. And now a lot of advertisement focus on the views, unblocked view, and then how spacious the homes are. Now you work from home. You spend more time at your home, right? So you do not have to be too close to the subway station because you do not commute every day. However, now you need a little bit larger space and also better view because you stay home in more often, right? So that's COVID-19. COVID-19 is, of course, a big game changer to the residential and then the commercial real estate markets. However, the more bigger storms are coming. So I'm going to talk about the climate change. Okay, so climate change, everybody should be familiar. The global average land sea temperature have been increasing continuously, and we are very concerned. Everybody familiar with the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement say that we really want to maintain the temperature increase well below 2 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial level, right? Let me talk about country by country, a bit of examples of the per capita CO2 emission. This includes whatever the productions that you have within your boundary of the country, right? So, in fact, of course, in the US is huge. Singapore is also a lot of CO2 emission. Most of the developed countries have a higher CO2 emission compared to the developed countries. You can see that Malaysia, Indonesia have, of course, not to mention China, these developing countries have increased the CO2 emission more recent time period because, that's when you have grown your economy very fast, right? However, if you look at only the consumption-based CO2 emission, in fact, the Malaysia, China, Indonesia actually are quite flat, meaning a lot of those manufacturings that are ongoing in Indonesia, right? You are emitting CO2 because of their production. However, that does not necessarily be consumed in Indonesia because you export a lot of goods that you produce in Indonesia, right? That's why the CO2 emission, if we look at the consumption based, is actually quite flat in Indonesia, which is a good thing because a lot of the CO2 emission that you are producing is actually for export. Those are goods that you want to export, right? So this CO2 emission is huge, and then we are very concerned about this because in the last year, 2024, was the first year that we have seen actually a huge increase in this global temperature over 1.5 Celsius. I told that earlier that the Paris Agreement was targeting well below 2 degrees Celsius. Now we are already at the peak of this 1.5, close to 1.5 annual average. For only year 2024, already we actually reached the 1.5. So we are concerned. Why is it concerned? Because it is irreversible. Once we actually go over this threshold, right, it's very, very hard to reversible. If we do nothing, do the business as usual, and we have some adaptation, then we have a very, very high risk, that we go even beyond 2 degrees Celsius, can be close to 4 degrees up, compared to the pre-industrial level. It's very, very dangerous. If we do some carbon capture and do a lot of renewable energy solutions, then we can keep it like around 1.5, can be a bit slightly less. If not, then we're gonna really, really have a high chance to go up beyond 2 degrees Celsius, right? So let me talk a little bit about two things in the climate science. One is adaptation, the other one is mitigation. When we deal with the climate change, adaptation is we are gonna still do the business as usual. However, we are concerned about potential disasters like a flooding. I know Jakarta is building flood walls, right? Because Jakarta is continuously experiencing the very dangerous floodings. So that flood wall is nothing to do with the carbon capture. It's not going to reduce the CO2 emission. It's just to make the environment a little more safer with existing business, right? So that's why that doesn't really affect the temperature, right? It's really just the flood walls and the floodgates. Mitigation, carbon capture is really more progressive. We want to reduce the CO2 emission. We really want to capture this, right? So that's the difference that we are talking about, okay? Now, if we look at the climate vulnerability, the Southeast Asia is very, very vulnerable, including Indonesia, because we have a lot of coastal areas, not to mention Indonesia has a lot of islands, right? So we really need to be cautious about this climate change. And then the real estate plays a very important role to this climate change. For both adaptation and mitigation, I talked about these two things. Why? Because built environment, building infrastructure already account for 40%, 42% of the carbon emission, okay? So we really need to think about how to reduce this carbon emission with the mitigation strategies. On top of that, flooding walls and a lot of these adaptation strategies also are related with the real estate business because we are the ones who build this infrastructure, right? So we really are the main players in this game. Last thing that I want to mention is technological advancement and smart cities. I think the previous keynote speaker talked about the how the Nusantara will become a smart city. Smart city is also the big sort of national agenda for Singapore. Okay, and Singapore has been like a number 5 and number 1 in the world for smart city, and also it has been a number 1 in Asia, right? So I think in only Asia, Singapore, we have a Singapore and Beijing, right? You see a lot of other European cities here, and also Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So what we are talking about a lot of different things, but there is a smart mobility, like autonomous vehicle and drones, right? But we are also talking about, the data centers, how we use the digital twin technology so that the data centers can be operated more smartly and then with a more efficiency, right? I think that is a question. Okay, so I think this is to the Prof. Rusmin. The last part of my talk will be focusing on, so all these changes, I talked about the changes, dynamics. How would the real estate market will be moving? Where are we going to, right? So that's the last part of my talk. There will be a fundamental shift in the residential markets with all these changes driven by COVID-19 and then the lower birth rate and then aging. We're going to see more people with single households, okay? You see in Singapore, compared to 2022, we have more than double up for the single households. And then with that, a lot of my students ask, oh, you have now the lower number of population. Why? Then maybe housing is cheaper. Actually, it's opposite. Why? Because a lot of these people would want to have a single family household, meaning that before, like 5 people live together in one home. Now, every single person is gonna need one housing for one person. That means we need more housing units, right? So that becomes really a higher demand in the market to a certain point. So you see the application rate for public housing in Singapore has increased significantly. The other thing with the aging is that all the adults, right, they have a very different patterns of consuming the real estate spaces compared to the younger people. You see these older adults, right? They have a higher demand for their homes usually, and then they do not have a lot of demand for the retail or office. Of course, they do not work, right? And then they have a high demand for the clinics, and then maybe more for these silver town. You see the multifamily rental, more age restricted. These have seen a higher demand, right? So in Korea and some others, parts of the world, this senior housing market has been booming. Long waiting list because the supply of this senior housing is very limited. You can see on the right side panel, this is US. You see the absorption rate by the property rate. Actually, for the senior housing, has quickly picked up after COVID-19. It has been quite popular. And then the rent has slightly going down when there was a COVID, but it just quickly pick up, meaning that there is really, really strong demand for this senior housing sector, right? So I think that's quite an important trend that we want to keep monitoring. I think there is a question from Freddie. Real estate and specifically housing estate is now seen as a branded item and social status. Customers tend to buy properties from the bigger real estate companies as they see from big brands, although a higher price tag. Yeah, that's correct. That's why Indonesia, international real estate companies from Japan, Hong Kong are coming to Jakarta. Yes. What is your opinion about this? Yeah, this is not only specific to Indonesia, everywhere. The brands and sort of status and prestigious kind of brand become quite important for housing decisions, and then the people are willing to pay the premium for that, right? So yeah, I think it's partly because of globalization, but at the same time, in Indonesia and in a lot of other developing countries, the income goes up, and the income inequality also goes up. So rich people are very rich, right? And these people will have financial capacity to pay all this premium for more luxury status, more high end. They also want to be more exclusive. And that's why I actually found a lot of gated communities in Jakarta, because these people want to be exclusive. They would demand exclusive living, and they want to pay a higher premium for this. So I do not really think, there is anything that we can do, because this is a human nature, when people become richer and they want to be more exclusive, they want to demand a higher end and a more fancy living standard. So there is nothing that we really can do. One thing that the real estate industry in the local Indonesia you can try is you kind of form the joint venture. In Singapore, a lot of these foreign development, in the residential especially is happening with a joint venture. So it's partly because if the foreign companies come to new context by itself without any local partners, they are not really familiar with the local institutional context and regulations and all this. So they are struggling. So it's also synergetic for the local companies, right? For the global companies. So I think maybe the key for the real estate industry in Indonesia, you really try to form the joint partnership with big international names. So then I think local real estate industries can grow together for this development, right? And one thing probably, of course, you need to do is that you need to have a selling point. From the international developer from Japan, why would I form the joint partnership with a local company? You need to put something on the table, right? Otherwise, I am a Japanese developer, I have no reason, no incentive to form the partnership with you, right? So I think that's something that you may want to consider, the partnership. The other thing for the future of real estate is the ESG. I think I already mentioned. ESG is going to be a big thing for real estate. You can see, even compared to the hedge fund or other financial industry, real estate industry is very keen to adopt more ESG policy. Partly because real estate is not only the finance industry, it also actually has a very big portion in real sort of built environment, which actually has a more significant contribution to carbon emission, as I showed you earlier. So green financing becomes increasingly popular in real estate. And then in Singapore, for example, it is kind of the green buildings will account for, more than 40% of the share. And then green financing is becoming really boom in Singapore. Right now, if you do not really have the green features in your real estate development, it's very, very hard to get the loan from the banks in Korea. And I found some interesting kind of news article about Indonesia. The government is considering green financing eligibility even for the core power plants that supply EV battery makers. So I think it's very controversial. I don't know, how the participants think about this. Is this a greenwashing or, is this appropriate? I think that will be interesting to talk about. But ESG practices in Singapore is mainly driven by building industry. So we have a green mark system, which is a green mark certificate, which is comparable to LEED in the US. A lot of developers have already claimed how they will be engaged in these ESG plans over time. Regulations also incentivize the kind of green buildings. So if you do the green rooftop, green walls in Singapore, which you will find a lot in the prime areas in Singapore, you actually get the density bonus. So this is the incentive why developers will want to do the green buildings, right? Then I think more about the social part, right? How do we make the social impact, right? We say the social impact investing opportunities. In the US, a lot of them actually do the affordable housing supply to actually achieve this social impact. And then in Singapore recently, I talked about how the senior housing become very popular after this aging trends. So Singapore government has now started a collaboration with the private industry to have a more senior housing development. And that's, of course, contributing back to society and making social impacts, right? So that's one thing that we can consider. About the technology, I want to start with a smart plan. So you see, virtual Singapore, which is a digital twin that actually make all these Singapore's the 2D, two-dimensional sort of map into the 3D sort of model. We can have a very good sense of, in this building, what is the material they use, what is the sort of the density, what is the capacity of the buildings, and, not to mention what is the traffic flow of the different parts of Singapore. Why is it useful? We can directly use this for urban planning. You see, how the shadow changes over time a day, right? With this kind of shadow analysis, what we can do is we can analyze and simulate even before actual buildings, right? Where will be the best place to put the playground? We want to put it in the more shady area. Where is the good place for solar panels? We want to put these solar panels where the place where a lot of sunshine is going, right? So that's something that we can use directly for the our real estate development. The other one, that is extended from this virtual Singapore is a cooling Singapore. So Singapore, Jakarta, all these Indonesian cities are in the sort of the climate, the tropical climate. We are very worried about the heat, and with the climate change, this heat will be even more extreme, right? So what we can do with this kind of virtual Singapore, this cooling Singapore, is that we can identify where is the hottest area in Singapore. You can see, the very, very dark, the red color. That's where a lot of central areas, where we have high-rise buildings. When we have high-rise buildings, we're going to have an urban heat island effect, right? It means we contain a lot of heat in the daytime. So even the nighttime, the heat are still there. And then that's where all the temperature is like crazy, very high. So with this, what we can do is we can actually do some simulations, how we can create the wind corridor. So on the right side, you see the big sort of corridor. That's the ventilation and wind corridor. And we can actually create some better environment and cooling environment to address this urban heat. The other technology that we can talk about is that at a little bit smaller scale, or it can be the entire city, what is the global opportunity or, for the smart district building. Nusantara is, I think, already doing this. You sort of attract the global investment to achieve these smart city goals, right? So in Singapore, Punggol Digital District, which is currently developed by the JTC, the industrial developer that I mentioned earlier. So JTC's Punggol Digital District is the truly smart district, the first one in Singapore. It has already opened up the first phase, and it has incorporated a lot of different dimensions. But the baseline is that it's really, really smart facilities, right? Neom City in Saudi Arabia, I think as most of you have heard of this, has already attracted a lot of investment. And, it's a lot bigger scale, of course, compared to Singapore's PPP. However, there are a lot of challenges and competitions, right? You probably have heard of this T-Site project done by the Google Site Lab. So Google was trying to build this smart neighborhood in Toronto, Canada. And after a couple of years struggling, it actually has put their money out, and they kind of stopped their plan. Why? Because building a smart city actually is not easy. And Google is not the government. It's actually the private sector that tried to develop this smart neighborhood. It didn't really work out because a lot of opposition from the local neighborhoods. So I think one thing that you may also want to think about for the Nusantara Smart City Initiative is how to sort of transfer these benefits to the local people there. How to attract the more investment from the private sector? It's not easy because private sector would be seeking the profits in the short term. And usually these kind of smart cities do not generate a lot of profits within a short period of time. It takes a lot of a long time. So this is one sort of reason why a lot of cities are struggling to attract the investment from the private developers and the global investment. The last thing is the technology, especially the fintech and proptech, property technology. So we are adopting a lot of these things across different subdimensions. For example, digital sales process a lot of valuation practices are now automated. We all know the AVM becomes very popular. And then I already talked about the online listings platform. I'm sure that there is a huge online listing platform in Indonesia. These days, nobody is going to the real estate agents right away. They actually always search, how much their housing price will be online. And then they actually, after that, they meet with the real estate agents, right? So online brokerage and all these things become super popular. That's the already sort of in practice. The other thing is the digital investment and lending, right? So that could be the crowdfunding, and then the sharing economy could be both for residential and commercial. We all familiar with the Airbnb, that's a short-term rental. And then commercial, we familiar with the co-working like a WeWork, right? And then the last one is a little more sort of a complicated structure that involve the blockchain, which is a security. How can we securitize real estate assets with the blockchain technology, which is a cleaner and safer? And then with that, we can actually do tokenization of the real estate, right? So these are the sort of different things that we can do with the technology for future of real estate. More immediately, what can we do with this technology for the current practices? A lot of people say the building management will be the one that we can really help with. So in Singapore's public housing, we have this facility maintenance app. It's called a Link FM. And what you can do is the tenants just report their issues with their homes in the app. And then this is a lot more efficient because you have a very immediate sort of response channel, rather than the tenant call the landlord, or call the management company and they come and look at and it takes like forever, right? So now the process of maintenance can be simpler and easier. They can save a lot of costs. So that's one of the things that we can make an immediate sort of improvement in our real estate businesses. Last thing is the one that I mentioned about the real estate crowdfunding and tokenization. So Bogota, Colombia, they have done a very successful sort of crowdfunding involving the 240 million US dollars with more than, I think, 5,000 Colombian citizens, right? For this is the world kind of largest crowdfunding project so far. So that's quite interesting, how to attract the small investors for larger scale office development, right? So I think that this is the one thing that we can really think in a more comprehensive manner. But of course, you need some support from the government because, the regulation should be more relaxed for this crowdfunding and also the tokenization. I found that Indonesia has already made a move for the property asset tokenization, right? With some startups in the private sector. I think that's really, really a good move to make this tokenization and real estate industry more active. So with that, I think that is also some questions. Let me see here. I think I would be able to answer the Danu's question. I like to ask you about how you personally feel about the development of property in Indonesia in terms of its weaknesses and strengths. So honestly, I'm not a really big expert in Indonesia property development, but I know some of the local developers' practices, right? So what I feel right now is like, I think some Freddie asked this question before. I think many sort of development activities right now in the Indonesia, also Malaysia, I think to some extent, is largely driven by the foreign developers. I think this is one thing that we really need to think about, right? It's because either the local developers do not have high capacity, or, I think Freddie mentioned maybe people like these foreign brands. I think it's a mix of both, right? That's why I suggest, how we have to think seriously. How can we sort of enhance local developers' capacity on the one hand? On the other hand, how can stimulate this partnership between the local and the international developers partnership. I think that's one. The other thing is that, like I say, you really want to think diversify, how to diversify your development across different sectors. You do not have to focus only on the residential. You have to really think about how to venture into different segments of the markets, like data centers. Data centers, you really need to understand the local context. You cannot, it's different from homes, right? You need to also go through a lot of regulations. So that's where I think the local developers have a more advantage compared to over the international developers. So I would really suggest, as a real estate industry together, you may want to think about sort of localized strategies. And of course, not to mention, Nusantara is a very big opportunity for you, everyone of real estate professionals. So I think, and then the last thing is maybe you also think about how to collaborate with the public sector. Obviously the Nusantara and other sort of, cities. How I think the previous speaker also mentioned the PPP, right? So how the private sector can collaborate with the government to achieve government agenda, and this is where the local developers have a huge advantage over the foreign developers, I think. So that will be my two cents of thoughts. There is another question from Professor Elizabeth. Could you elaborate on the government policies and the development of the green financing for real estate in Singapore? How do these countries approach sustainable real estate development investments, and what specific policies or incentives have been implemented to promote green financing? Additionally, what are the key drivers of this trend and then challenges they face in promoting green financing within the real estate sectors in Singapore? Yeah, a lot of questions. In fact, the MAS, Monetary Authority in Singapore, is the one that drive this green financing regulations. So you can find a lot of online sort of materials that how Singapore is moving toward. Singapore's national agenda right now is achieving the net zero energy at the national level. Right. So, obviously, when you have such a national vision, you really need to push this green financing. So to me, the leadership is very important, and then the vision of the country and the city should be there to sort of make all these regulations, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work. The policies will be driven by the vision. Unless the government has a very strong vision for sustainability and the net zero and reduce carbon emission, it's not going to work, because government is the one that is formulating these policies, right? So I think that's important. And of course, the key drivers of the trend is really the public sector in Singapore. The government is regulating, and that's why the private sectors are following, right? Then obviously, the challenges, of course, is how sustainable, and I already mentioned greenwashing sort of potential, right? How do we get away from there? I think that's important. Another question is, in Singapore, where the land ownership is tightly regulated and public housing eligibility prioritizes married couple, how can the government effectively prevent that detect housing-related fraud, such as short marriage, orange solo flat ownership will still be upholding fairness? I would say it's not possible to actually use this loophole in Singapore. The enforcement is very strong. Once you sort of try to deceive and then do these short marriage and all this, right? The penalty is very, very high in Singapore. So nobody will actually do this. And Singapore, the penalty is not only financial but also other. So it's I don't think there is any sort of issue. If this one is related with the policy enforcement, it's not only that there is a written statement of the policy you really need to enforce, and you need to make a showcase, how dangerous if you do not follow the policy and regulations, right? And Singapore has been already doing this practice for a long time. So I think that kind of explains why it works in Singapore. Okay, so let me quickly conclude. So some takeaway from my talk, I would say, with all these challenges that I talked about, whether it is demographic challenges, whether it is geopolitical challenges, whether there is these climate challenges, are we still caring about real estate? Yes, because real estate shapes where we live, work, and play. It's not only about the money-making business, but also it is really the place-making and national building, especially for Singapore case. I sort of demonstrated how real estate has played a very, very important role to its national building. What drive fundamental of real estate? I talked about demographic shift, economic development, and globalization as the core fundamental forces, right? But these forces change. It's not static. It evolves over time, right? So I talked about some more recent dynamics, such as COVID-19, climate change, technological advancement. These have really reshaped the entire real estate industry. So then the last one is, how will future real estate be shaped, driven by all these dynamics? At the intersection of the sustainability and property technology, the real estate is going to evolve, okay, with hopefully with more sustainable and ESG practices and with more sort of technological advanced kind of industry practices. And I think this is going to really reinforce the drivers of real estate and multidimensional resilience for our cities. So I'll stop here and see if there is any questions, additional questions. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Professor Lee, for this insightful presentation. I think everyone was very active in the chat, also with the questions. I think we gained a lot of insights and information about housing and property in the real estate industry also. I think there is one question that I think you might have missed. Correct me if I'm wrong. From Mr. Joko Sutiono, he wants to ask, Singapore has been known as safe haven for real estate and financial investment. How there is recent tightening immigration or move or policy by the government towards foreign workers, which in his view may impact residential estate demand. In your view, what would the real estate developers and investors will need to do to migrate the risk? I think that is from Mr. Joko Sution.
Joko, let me.
It's a bit at the top side of the tab. Yeah, here we can see that.
Oh, here, okay.
Yeah.
So the question, the second question, is it? Okay, so.
Yes, the second question.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think this is important because it's also talking about the investment, the cross-border foreign investment, right? I think there are two things. Singapore has tightened the immigration policy, but also probably you have heard of the additional buyer stamp duty. So if you are the foreigner, you have to pay the additional 60% of the stamp duty. So additional 60% of the property value as the stamp duty, right? So it's actually the policy that really deter the foreign investment in Singapore. Two kind of different things. I think one of the sort of factors in Singapore is the government really cares about housing affordability for locals. This is the one thing that I mentioned earlier. If we focus too much on the foreign investment in the residential sector, it actually it's actually sort of make local affordability worse, which is really having a longer term effect on fertility and other sort of welfare issues for local residents, which we really have to care about. So Singapore government has a very firm position for that. That's why it has a very stringent and then a very strong sort of measure for these foreign investment. So that's one. The other one, I think maybe Joko is more concerned about the tightened immigration will lower housing demand in Singapore, I think. Actually, it's not really significant in Singapore because I don't think Singapore will have been affected by too much about this. Demand, you're right. Maybe some of those who cannot afford housing now, among the foreign workers, they would probably leave Singapore because the housing is quite expensive right now. Or because of the visa, immigration policy, they may not be able to enter. However, Singapore has always very high demand from very, very rich and high net worth people. So, and it's a small city, one city anyways, right? And then the supply is very limited. Singapore government is effectively controlling the residential supply and demand. So when there is this control, I don't think that there is any sort of fundamental risk, that developer will have, because the government will never release the land if there is no substantial demand in the private residential market. In fact, after COVID-19, the housing price has gone up so much in Singapore, and the supply is still quite limited, and because there was some construction delay. And then with this small percentage of those foreign workers who cannot get the visa to enter Singapore, I don't worry too much about that. Okay.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Before we move forward to for Mr. Rusmin's questions, maybe if the other participants, do you have any more questions for Professor Lee? You can also raise your hand if you want to ask directly. Okay, I think that's good enough. Thank you very much, Professor Lee. We would like to give you our deepest gratitude for your presentation and your answers from the questions. I think everybody had a very good, insightful discussion over this matter. We thank you again, Professor Lee, for your time. And I think we will go to the questions and answers for Mr. Rusmin. Okay.
Hi, Dany. I'm here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay, I saw it. And joined the question to Professor Kwan. This is welcome, Dany, to our people. You see, our people sometimes they are very foreign. I can say in economics demonstrative effect. They always see foreign speakers are good for everything. Sorry, Professor Lee. Even the question is supposed to be go to me as a developers association vice president. They ask Professor Kwan about the questions. You see how not paid our people are. So I'm very proud of me. You see, you must learn from Professor Lee that he is always proud of Singapore. We have to do that way actually when we talk to foreign investor, right? Yes. Of course, plus and minus, we cannot compare Singapore in Indonesia because it's not apple to apple compare. It's just apple to apple to orange. It's different. In Singapore, you see is a lot of skyscrapers. Everything is not cheap. You cannot stay in the city anymore with the 200 Singapore dollar. Forget it, Professor Kwan. I know that. So the living cost is very high. Yes. Of course, the living cost is quite high. The material is also very expensive compared to us because imagine the Peruna's price, the XTB price now starting from 500,000 Singapore dollar, which is 6 miliar, Pak. Jadi kalau di sana itu rumah yang affordable itu apartemen affordable 6 miliar. Jadi that's why the quality is very good. So our people doesn't understand it. They also look at the product, but they don't realize how much is it, right? So it's Singapore alone also faces a lot of challenges because, especially of affordability, because most of the taxi driver doesn't have their own home. Now they have. That's why they're stopped. They turn to the foreign investors. Said no more. We want to take care of our people to
Yeah,
have their home.
yeah, that is correct. Yeah,
That's why they put for the cafe, but not for you. Sorry. So you have to go to next door. So next 60% is something like we don't sell anymore to foreigners. That's why we also face a lot of challenges like we were, well, like we are now in the housing market. We face a lot. Professor Kwan, our backlog is about 11.4 million housing actually in the for fulfill the market need. So this is a challenge, and always I would like to say that every market, every country have their own challenges and also positive and negative impact, right? So I would like to take a look at the first question is from Elizabeth, and also Dano. Even you don't ask to me, I want to say that actually we still have a lot of good developers that already go overseas, like Ciputra Group. Ciputra Group is one of the national flag multinational company that they're very successful in Vietnam, Hanoi, Vietnam, Cambodia, and also not they are they have about 130 projects in 35 cities. Imagine that. So I don't see any this kind of property development group in Singapore that are doing very good. Okay, they have overseas project. They have 130 project in a nationwide, almost in the 35 cities. Okay. Also Lipo, you know Lipo as well. Lipo also have a buildings in development in Singapore, as we know, and also one thing good is I have a friend from REDAS, Professor Kwan, Real Estate Developers Association of Singapore. They came to Jakarta. They asked me to take them to the Central Park because they want to see Central Park. The park, the particulars green park that has a lot of F&B in the middle of Central Park. That's why they said to me, Rusmin, we don't have this kind of very good development design and in Singapore. That's why we also can be some of our development also are world class winner. Even they are winner FIABCI World pretty excellent winners, and also we can be proud of it. Okay, so it's not it doesn't mean that compared to other countries. Okay, Dano, you listen to me, please. Okay, Elizabeth, I mentioned about that Nusantara have 5 characters. One of them is green and sustainable, and that's why we work with the Habitat. We work with a lot of Tony Blair, other foreign institutions like Tony Blair and also others. Green building index institutions like also the one that under IFC, I forgot the name, that doing the compliance for the green and sustainability. So we have the guideline, we have the rule, we have the minister regulations on doing this green and sustainable compliance. Okay. The next one is Jainal. Jainal, yes. You see that there's a lot. They already have 42 projects in Nusantara in the pipeline. Most of them are local player, national player, even from Kalimantan and Medan as well. They came to Nusantara to invest, to buy the land and develop. But now, of course, it's within a city, right? Now they are building. We are building the primary market. Okay, that's why we are not looking for any sales, because most of them are looking for recurring income. They just build a hotel, want to detain it and run as hotel for recurring income, and also residential as well. They are going to provide a residential for those foreign workers, a professional manager who will work there. So this we haven't gone to secondary market yet. This is still primary market. Okay. And one thing about Good Nusantara is that the law is already firm from undang-undang, from peraturan presiden, PP. That's why we must confident. If we are not confident, who else will be confident, right? So and also a lot of people say, Dany, they still ask me this kind of a very primary school kindergarten questions. What happened to Nusantara? Is it still on? I said, you take a look at YouTube, you take a look at Instagram, Facebook, all the social media channel of Nusantara, you see that. And after, if you're not confident, you go there. Seeing is believing. So, still a lot of people that don't understand what's going on in Nusantara now. Even they are, but they're still doubt about it. It's very funny. Um, and the last one is from Rendra. Rendra, you must understand that Nusantara is not. We are not cutting the forest. Actually, the land actually is a forest industry. It's a forest. This industrial forest land is ex-HPH of one company for eucalyptus. That's why what we are doing is reforest the land actually, reforest the land from eucalyptus to the natural green kind of this forest. So instead of cutting it, we reforest it actually. Because in Nusantara we have this center of the forest seed that we can implement the reforestation in the future. Okay, thank you, Dany. I think that's it.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rusmin. I think there is one more question from Mrs. Siska. She asks, how are geopolitical tensions and economic instability influencing property markets around the world, and especially in Indonesia? Maybe you have an insight about it, Mr. Rusmin.
Okay. Geopolitically, we must. The one that actually, I tell you, I travel the world. I talk to people, especially in Malaysia, Singapore, in Asian country. They are more confident than our people because why? Because Nusantara Nusantara is located in Borneo Island. Who are Borneo today? Borneo today is not Indonesia only, but Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. So these two countries, actually, Malaysia and Brunei, they are very keen to support this project because they know that Nusantara will be the spearhead of this Borneo Island that can bring Borneo Island to the next level. So if Nusantara can succeed, then it's going to be the next growth center in the east of Indonesia, which is Kalimantan, that can collaborate together, could be a regional economic growth center for Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. That's what they want actually. That's why they support us, Sarawak Sabah, this development. And geopolitically, I can say that in terms of stability in Asian country, the one that most stable now is Indonesia or Singapore. You ask Professor Kwan, you like it or not? Malaysia, I don't say they're not stable, but they are not that stable like Indonesia and Singapore today. Compared to Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar especially, you can see that. So people are still aiming for our market because our market quite big, and also we have the beauty demography in our population structure. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rusmin, for your answers. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, from our first keynote speak, Mr. Rusmin Lawin and Professor Lee's second keynote speech, I think hopefully we covered it all the questions. If not, I sincerely apologize if there's some questions that we haven't answered yet, but we can proceed in the next sessions also. With that being said, I would like to again give our gratitude to Mr. Rusmin Lawin and also Professor Lee for the great presentations about the property and real estate industry in the global in around the world also, and also in Indonesia. And that I thank you very much. And after this session, we will have a little bit of ice-breaking sessions, and I hope everybody um, in this Zoom meeting will participate in this ice-breaking sessions. And with that, I will give the ice-breaking sessions to Miss Julia, Miss El Sinar, and Miss Yunizar, and Pak Darmawan. Please go to the ice-breaking sessions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dany Sitompul. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Julia and my partner, Elsina. Hi, Elsina.
Hi, Julia. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you.
How are you today, Elsina?
Well, I'm really good, Julia. Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you. We will guiding our quiz today. Mr. Mena, please share. Okay, I hope you're still with us and enjoying our seminar so far. Please join using a link I have sent in chat room, and you can scan barcode display on the monitor screen. This quiz offer a prize of 100,000 in electronic money for 3 winners, and the winners request to leave your phone number in chat room. We will contact you later. So yes, there is one participant. You can scan in the barcode in monitor screen.
Yes, everyone is really welcome to join the quiz. So we are still waiting for the participants to log in to the quiz.
For participant?
Yes, there's 5 out of 223 participants. So
Okay,
please, everyone, it's really simple, no pressure at all. It's not difficult, so we just want to enjoy the game and be playful.
And there is an exciting prizes. Okay. Next, 12 participants. Please click the link in chat room or scan the barcode in monitor screen.
Okay, 18 participants. Let's go, everyone, to start the game, because there is door prize to win.
Twenty participants. Okay, go. Alsina, how the weather in Jakarta now?
Well, the weather is quite blue now because I think it's going to rain in the noon. Yeah, still waiting, but it's quite bright right now, but sometimes it's got rain in the evening too. How's the participant going? I hope everyone really wants to participate because it's really enjoyable. Well, the questions is really simple, only few questions to answer. It's multiple choice questions. Let's go, everyone. Let's go.
Mana yang tadi? Wait. Wait for the moment. Five minutes more, we can start the quiz. 44 participants.
All the students and all the lecturers may join the games. All right, Julia, how many more to wait? It's not
Yes,
even,
and Sinar.
how many more to wait? It's not even close to half.
3 minutes more.
All right. So go, everyone, be quick.
In 11:12, we can start the game. Are you ready? 2 minutes more, yeah. Fifty-five participants. Two minutes more. Can we start now? Okay.
Yes, I think we might start now.
Mr. Mena, please start. 1, 2, 3, go.
Be ready, everyone, as on screen. Be ready. Best of luck.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Who is this?
Good game.
Andy. Go, Mr. Andy. Don't kali.
It's really easy question. I hope everyone got it right.
So easy. The question all about the MMPP.
So Mr. Andy have the top score, right, Julia? So,
Mr. Andy, Mr. Don X.
okay, it's really all right. What's happening? Okay, I haven't decided yet. I'm still very curious. Okay.
Mr. Andy lead. Where is Don?
Okay, it's getting more competitive. All right, everyone. Okay.
Anastasia-Lenko.
Third one. Participants. one is Mr. Andy, and the second one is Natasha, and the third one is Ranita Sagala.
Come on. This is the final or no?
Is the game done yet, Julia?
Can we stop now? Or we can wait? Stop. Okay, I think we got the winner. Elsina, isn't it?
Sorry? Pardon? Okay, we got the winner. Out of 16, we have 5 winners. The first one is Mr. Andy.
Mr. Andy.
Second one is Anastasia Lengkong. The third one is
And the third-
Ranita Sagala. And 4 is Dan X. Please reveal your real name, Mr. Dan X. Or she's a she or a he. And 5 also, please reveal your real name. Bingo.
But Elsina, we get 3 winners, and the winners are requested to leave their phone number in chat room.
Yes,
We will contact you later. Mr. Andy, Miss Anastasia Lengkong, and Miss Ranita Sagala.
Right.
Okay, we can stop the
Let me make
Mr. Mena, please. Okay, Miss Yosi, the quiz is over.
Okay, thank you very much, Julia and Sinar, with the icebreaking sessions. With the icebreaking session over, I will give back to our MC, Miss Yosi. The floor is yours.
Okay,
You're
thank
welcome,
you.
Mr. Andy.
Okay, thank you so much for handing over this moment to me as the MC, Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul, STMM, as the moderator for the presentations of the keynote speakers. And of course, I would like to give thank you so much once again for Julia and Elsinar for conducting the icebreaking sessions very smoothly. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we officially going to end this international webinar, I would like to give the highest appreciations to all of the keynote speakers, Professor Kwan, Mr. Rusmin, Lawin, and of course to all of the participants that's been joining and participating in the question and answer session. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we move on and officially close this international seminar, I would like to have this moment to give to the Professor Dr. Elizabeth Siahaan, SAMEC, to hand over the e-certificate and placards to the Chancellor of USU, speakers, and moderators. And of course, I would like to ask the pleasure as the chairperson of the MMPS to officially close this international webinar with the closing statement. Please welcome Professor Dr. Elizabeth Siahaan, SA, MAJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a token of appreciation, we are honored to present certificate of appreciation and placards to the distinguished individuals who have contributed for today's international webinar. We express our sincere thanks and appreciation to Professor Dr. Kofi Angelita Zaitun Hasibuan as Vice Chancellor for Research, Community Service and Cooperation of University Sumatera Utara for graciously delivering the opening remarks at today's webinar. We also express our gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Engineer Budi Prasojo, Master Economics and MAPPI Certified, Chairman of the Indonesian Society of Appraisers, who kindly delivered an opening speech at today's webinar. We also express our gratitude and appreciation to Mr. H. Joko Suranto, SHM Ham, Chairman of Real Estate Indonesia, who kindly delivered an opening speech at today's webinar. Our appreciation is extended to Professor Kwan from the National University of Singapore for her insight related to global trends in the property and real estate industry. Our appreciation is also extended to Mr. Rusmin, Lawin, SHCN FIREC, as the International Real Estate President of Real Estate Federation Asia Pacific, for his inspiring presentation. And of course, we would like to thank to Mr. Dany Perdana Sitompul SPMM, who skillfully moderate the discussion. His professionalism helped create a smooth, dynamic, and engaging webinar session. Thank you, and we hope this recognition reflects our gratitude for our contribution, and this collaboration will bring positive impact to education and property industry. Thank you. See you at the next event. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of today's international webinar, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express thanks for your participation and enthusiasm from the beginning until the end of this event. We hope today's event has provided valuable insight, open new perspective, and inspire all of us as we face development in the property and real estate industry, both nationally and globally. With sincere gratitude, we officially close today's webinar. See you in our next event. Thank you. I return to the best MC.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Siahaan, SAMEC, as the chairman of this organizing committee, and of course, the head of the Master Management Property and Valuation Postgraduate School, for the closing statement given that officially closed this international webinar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we are really at the end of our international webinar. So we would like to say thank you once again to all of the participants, to the keynote speakers, to the moderators, to the participants, to the committees as well. Thank you so much once again to making this international webinar once again run successful and smoothly as we expect it to be. So by ending this event, I would like to closing it with a Malay tradition, pantun. Jalan-jalan keliling dunia, banyak kota indah yang sangat mempesona. Kalaulah ada tersilap tutur bicara, jemari disusun, maaf dipinta. Mata segar memandang alam, tubuh segar di saat menyelam. Dari lubuk hati yang paling dalam, saya tutup webinar ini dengan mengucapkan salam. Akhir kata, billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be seeing you again in the near future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam.